The moment is here, you can stop your search. It's Comics by Perch.
Hey everybody, this is Perch. Now this Marvel was the big shocking death in Spider-Man, not MJ as was heavily teased and promoted, but Kamala Khan, which has a stunt kind of cliffhanger type deal to it because there is a 100% chance, not even 99.9% chance, a 100% chance Kamala Khan is resurrected. There's super easy, barely an inconvenience way to do it, and it will be done in short order. We already know his Orshi series starting in August, which happens to line up very nicely to the Marvels movie that stars Kamala Khan and then other Marvels. And in that movie, it's worth noting, the writer Zeb Wells is also the writer, of course, of the Spider-Man comic where, this Marvel has died. So this is the hero sacrifice. The question I would have is, let me back up a second. There's an article in Newsarama written by George Marston, whose takes I'm starting to really despise. But anyway, he writes, the death of Kamala Khan in Amazing Spider-Man number 26 may be shocking for all the wrong reasons. And I agree. It is shocking for those. What are the reasons? Why are they the wrong reasons? Well, easy. The biggest reason is, the attempt here is to provide a big twist that people didn't see coming to have a shocking death or comic. But, what it also does is, while you're attempting to give a big hero sacrifice kind of moment to this character, as a jump starter, as a big character in the comic, by resurrecting her very quickly, and you're going to make that sacrifice fairly hollow. It's not going to feel like she did anything very important, and it's going to feel like she has a big kind of arcade reset button or a what up next life, rather than actually having the big moment that they want to do. And they're doing Death of the Fallen Friend or a Fallen Friend, where you're going to come mourn the character, and G.B. Wilson's going to come back and do a little bit there. Talk about the lives that Kamala Khan has touched, everything else, that's fine. But if the character comes back to life a couple months later, and even if they weren't doing that, which they absolutely are, just the fact that you've got this resurrection, undo switch that is part of Marvel canon makes all of this stuff kind of silly. So again, it's shocking in the sense of how hollow it is. However, that's not shocking George Marston believe it is. So he basically he writes area. The page shows he's talking about the page shows an unconscious Kamala Khan, Slunk Gaylor, Peter Parker, Morgan Osborn, Fantastic Four, Mary Jane, and her boyfriend all around them in tears. All is in the festival, right? I think think there's another reveal coming where Paul is actually Mephisto and Scott. And I bet that's what I think. I'm sure or maybe it's Blackheart or something. Anyway, but anyway, okay. So then we go, through the article, all this is, Marvel's thick enough, but here you go. But why kill off Kamala Khan in a Spider-Man comic? Well, first off, the obvious, there isn't a Miss Marvel comic right now. But there isn't one. We've had a couple limited series lately, but the ongoing ended a bit ago. And the article continues. Well, maybe that's a silly question, given that superheroes are killed or reborn on a regular basis, some even dying multiple times in a single story or issue. But in this case, why is Kamala Khan's death the big shocking moment of the Spider-Man story in which he's been a bit player at best? Because Spider-Man sells the best of Marvel's comics right now. It's the top seller. And you're trying to springboard this character by giving her the wrestling terms, the rub from a more popular hero or more popular sold book, Spider-Man. So you have this character. Now, granted, I think she has been a big character, a side character in this comic, and they really should have had her do a couple more things. They're kind of relying on the fact that you read this Marvel dark web. Marvel did say that was a big deal, but anyway, that is a piece of all this. Anyway. That's why he felt like a Spider-Man book radically outsold her solo book. And what's really simple as that. It's, they want to get eyes on it so they can bring attention to character. And it's not rocket science. But there's a simple potential answer. Marvel has a habit of pulling off characters who are about to start upcoming films or otherwise taking them off the board in a big way, only to give them their big triumphant return to coincide with ending or series. Well, yeah. No. The trend has reached a point where you can basically just about time out how long the movie will be released, but look like with character's death, and lo and behold, the Marvels just about 6 months away with an early November release date in America. With, by the way, a 4-issue series starting in August. So count together August, September, October, November. 4-issue series ends in November. 4-issue series is classified. 4-issue series is absolutely the resurrection of Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan, in alignment for her movie. And pretty big chance they're going to tweak the character to make her more like the movie. So that's just a comment. Anyway, maybe they make her a new. I have a hard time believing that Marvel and is care about that kind of stuff, but who knows? I guess if they make her a mutant, she can the X-Men sent it. Yeah. Anyway, so that's the pragmatic part of the question, possibly answered. Not possibly. This is the state of politics. Anyway, but that doesn't address why Kamala Khan, herself an MCU headliner, with multiple long-running solo series under her own belt, is dying. Okay, hang on a second. When you say a MCU headliner had a Disney Plus series, didn't do it, I guess you could say is a character MCU series with a series named after her, then yes. But that's being a little fast word there. And multiple long-running solo titles under her own belt, under the belt. Okay, that's not the flex you think it is, because when you have the series canceled and then relaunched as a long-1, that's a gimmick to try and boost sales to #1 issue. That's not saying the character is so popular that she's had multiple, long-running solo titles. It's why they have, multiple solo titles, because they keep rebooting it. Captain Marvel does itself particular way as a comic. It has had tons of multiple solo titles. That doesn't mean what you think it means. Okay. Again, it's not to say the character is bad or is not worth anything. It's just we're playing as a journalist. I have a higher standard for facts, and we're playing super fast leaps with facts. So anyway, back to this. It says, is that why is she dying in Spider-Man's story is barely probably should have given them all. I agree with that. This feels like doing a disservice to Kamala as a character in service of another shocking villain, Peter Parker's arsenal of life-altering traumas and potential ratings belt when they bring her back down the road. Well, yeah, of course, the miniseries is going to spark sales. That's why they're doing it. And in terms of another shocking moment in Peter Parker's arsenal of life-altering traumas, she comes back, weeks later, and Peter knows that the resurrection protocols, he's been to the Hellfire Gala, he knows that they can resurrect people in the AXE. They announce they're going to resurrect people. He knows that they can bring back life immediately. So this doesn't have the emotional weight for him either. That's kind of the whole problem. Says that's a cynical view, at least. A brutal interpretation, but I think a fair one, given the way Marvel seemingly been capitalizing our impending death as a marketing tool of Spider-Man since earlier this year. Again, Spider-Man is a higher selling book. So she's going to get a lot more eyes, a lot more attention, a lot more promotion for the character if she dies in Spider-Man than if she dies in the death of the death of Miss Marvel limited series. It could sell that even half out. And you know this. So let's not be only here with numbers. One of the most disingenuous things I see a lot of these articles, a lot of how people talk about comics numbers, is they pretend that all the comics are selling exactly the same number, that they all have exactly the same popularity, when they clearly do not. And it's not a shameful thing. It's not a racist thing. It's not a misogynistic thing. It just is. Spider-Man sells more than Miss Marvel, sells more than this moment the X-Men, sells more than Daughter of Blake. They are not all equal. So if you want to get eyeballs on something, you put it in the higher selling title, regardless of if it has a white guy in it or not. It's just how it works. This Kamala isn't a full stranger to the title. He's been a supporting character in the background walls and intern as Osborn's series volume of Amazing Spider-Man launch. Even had her own limited series tie-in for recent Spider-Man X-Men Dark Web Friends. Why say that? However, the current story is focused on the relationship between Peter Parker and Mary Jane Watson, and how it's destroyed by the servant of the Dark God who sent MJ to a quantum dimension where she's 4 years away from Peter. We know the usual cosmic forces that seem to hate their relationship. If it's not. Yep. Anyway. By the way, however, the current story, you mean the last 4 issues. Okay. So killing Kamala Khan as a big climax of that story, which has actually been heavily foreshadowing the death of MJ, or perhaps her new partner, Paul, seems like an opportunistic bait and switch. But I thought, hang on a second, I thought you were supposed to love stories that fight expectations. The same exact writer, George here, talked about how defying expectations and, when they did it in Star Wars, it was amazing. And it was the future of storytelling. And toxic fans just can't appreciate good storytelling. Well, this is defying expectations. It's the expectation for MJ, and that would defy that is what this is. It is the same. Now here's the paragraph that really is the coup de grace of the article. There's also something to be said about a young woman of color whose unique identity and place in Marvel Hills has been consistently included in her stories and as a factor in her success, dying in the service of a shocking surprise for an older white man. That is the paragraph. That's the only paragraph the writer wanted to write. Well, maybe this next. It's not a great one, to say the least. And it's also an indication of just how threadbare the premise of forcibly finding ways to remove headlining characters from publication just to bring them back in time for the movie had become. If it takes putting Kamala Khan in Spider-Man to make her a credible enough supporting character to later kill, that feels like a jump the shark moment. Said. Again, as a journalist, as somebody who in theory is supposed to have the news, hand facts, and comics, you know that Spider-Man sells more. You know that title is more popular. You know that Marvel's trying to get their characters more exposure so they can make more money. Not rocket science. But instead, we want to say it's a problematic trope of having a person of color, a young woman of color, unique identity at place of Marvel universe, and consistently geared towards the fact of her success. Yeah, except that sales success has not equaled the quote-unquote older white man's success. The older white man has more sales, more comics, more subs. And so including this character in the quote-unquote older white man series is going to give her exposure she didn't have. Quite frankly, the biggest chance to actually get this character more promotion and help her solo comic sell better is if they kill her in a more popular title, or at least feature her in it. Now, I agree with you, by the way. Killing characters before the movies, dumb. And the fact that, as I mentioned at the beginning, resurrection can easily happen, takes all the emotional weight out of this moment, dumb. Absolutely. This is not going to be some add to the list of fears, folly, blight, and traumas, because it does not matter. With Resurrector right away, guilt absolved. That's where this all leads. And I am absolutely, I deeply go. We're not going to get comic after comic of Spider-Man walking around going, I brought this down to earth, so I'm responsible for this, that. Oh, fuck off. Nobody wants to read it. Nobody wants to see it, and it doesn't ring true. And you don't resurrect this woman. I mean, hell, you've got characters in the X-Men books, and this is not an exaggeration. This is a plot in the X-Men books. When they go into Coliseum, they just murder each other to be resurrected for the experience of. Like, there's no weight here. So that is the problem. And I completely agree. But if we're going to suddenly turn this into a young woman of color being killed a white, that is disingenuous as all get out. It's fake. It's just plain. That's what's wrong with comics. That they're at least comic journals, that they push this kind of stuff. It's not helpful. Now, it is very telling that we're gonna bang on what's wrong of defying expectations is good, and toxic fans complain about stuff, should just shut up and read, all that kind of stuff. You've been hearing that narrative for a long time, including from this exact same writer. Well, now it's going to sell headlines because, again, do I believe this writer actually believes any of this stuff with his heart? Probably not. but it makes a pretty damn good article that gets a lot of clickbait, a lot of SEO traffic. You say, no woman of color build up and over white like in order to in sales. And I guarantee that if you look at this article and look at the tags and look at some of the things that are going in there, you will discover they've got words like problematic and the feller. They're fishing for clicks. That's what's going on. Nobody believes any of this stuff because, quite frankly, everything I just explained is fucking obvious. Even the biggest buffoon knows it. This is all phony. It's not even performative. It's just a very cheap and very callous and, quite frankly, laid out marketing to use social topics and race to try and hit clicks. And that's what this is all about. Anyway, what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe, of course, and thanks for this.